Good morning, hope you're doing well. Get a lovely sunrise over there. Looking over the old Thames. Not a bad view this morning. Just want to quickly touch base on West Ham, of course. Transfer update in terms of what we've had from EXWHUEMPLOYEE. It isn't great, I'm going to be honest. I'm a bit deflated a little bit this week of how things are panning out. It does feel like possibly the midfield now situation is proving to be the problem. Whether West Ham have left it a little bit too late, I don't know whether that is the case, but it does feel like this is a priority area that we've left, and now it does feel like we are struggling to get what we need to get done, which is a shame, because there was a high expectation on a couple of targets which have now looking not so much. First one being Jacob Ramsey. So Jacob Ramsey, as we understood, was a key target for the club. And there was a level of confidence, actually, that we were going to be able to get a deal done, purely on the basis that it was likely he was going to be leaving Aston Villa. I think there was understanding as well that he quite likes Graham Potter and all this kind of stuff, but I knew it was always going to be quite tough, but there was a level of expectation at West Ham we might be able to get it done. But unfortunately, Newcastle have come forward. That's the club he prefers to go to. In that regard, I totally understand it. I mean, Champions League football, if you look at the two clubs and where you think they're going to be finishing next season, I think there's more of a expectation that Newcastle will be challenging in the top half, and for European football, that sort of things are sort of pretty much a guarantee, you'd feel, at Newcastle at the moment. Or I know they're struggling at the moment in the transfer window, but if you're Jacob Ramsey, and then you've got West Ham, which is just so unpredictable, isn't it? We just don't know. So I do understand that's his decision, but that one's dead, which is a real shame, because I think he would have been such a fabulous addition to our midfield, that athleticism to come into it. Second one, of course, is Matheus Fernandes. So we understand that West Ham have made an offer of £30 million over to Southampton. I'm not sure whether it was 28 plus 2, but I think the all-in package was £30 million. I'm quite surprised by the reaction, I'm going to be honest, and from terms of Southampton's side of it, it feels there's been quite a outright rejection, almost anger, it feels like, like it was almost insulting, which I'm struggling to understand, because I don't think it was a bad opening offer, actually, to be honest. I thought it was certainly an offer that could have open some dialogue in terms of what they would need and to try and get a deal done, but anyway, it's been rejected outright. The update from X is basically that the valuation that they put on the player for this window is just too high. We're talking sort of 50-60 million, and West Ham have just said, look, we're nowhere near that number. So there's a feeling now of are West Ham going to go back into a bid for him? I imagine we will. That's my gut feeling. I think West Ham will go in again and see what we can do. I can't see them getting 50-60 million pound for the player. He's 21 years old, and the fact they've been relegated in the Championship, it just doesn't feel like something they're going to be able to get for him. However, that being said, I totally understand their position. They're not desperate to sell. They've got Tyler Diblin sale close as well, so there's not pressure from Southampton. So basically, I think they're happy to say, well, we'll keep him then. It's not a problem. We don't need the money. So, but having said that, there is the other side of this, which is Will Steele. So Will Steele, obviously their new manager, West Ham fan as well. I hope he could do us a favour. But he's come out and basically said that, there are players that we need to move on, because we need to get players in, and sort of suggested there is going to be some work they need to do in the transfer window. So I'm not overly convinced at the moment. I'm wondering whether Southampton's stance is more just to get that price up, and maybe that West Ham are doing the same, thinking, well, I'll tell you what, we'll move on then to other targets. I'll get the feeling that talks for this player will reconvene at some stage, but it might well be this a little bit later down the line. So the attention now seems to be shifting towards Khannouss of Leicester City. Of course, we've just done a deal with Leicester, haven't we, for Mads Hermansen. So there is a open dialogue there between the clubs, and the fact we just got a deal done successfully leans to the fact that we possibly could go in now and get that deal done as well. We understand it's available, I think, for about £22.5 million in terms of release clause, so it's a lot more palatable in terms of cost. And then the fact that he's very highly rated. Now, he was on the list for Newcastle. Newcastle were going to push forward for talks with him, but I understand they've now pulled out because of the Ramsey deal they've now got done. They're now leaving that, so it's enabled West Ham to go in, and we could possibly get a deal done. So apparently we are going to start to pursue other targets. Macau, of course, of Lille as well, heavily linked after the friendly he played against us. I know we'd listed him before as a target earlier in the window that came from X. I think now there is more of a firmer interest, but there are players apparently still on the list, so it's not as if he's going to be the next sort of target. I think Khannouss is probably going to be one we're going to test the water with, see what's what. I get the feeling West Ham are going to use the same tactics we've done with the goalkeepers here. I think we're going to go down and put bids in all in for players, see where we go, and then we'll make a decision on who we're going to go for. As I say, I don't think the Fernandez deal's dead. I like the Ramsey one, which certainly is. So I do think we're going to go back in for Fernandez, and I really hope we can get something done there, because I think he'd be such a fabulous player for West Ham. But it's tough. I mean, Southampton are making it very difficult, and they're well within their right to. They've got no, they don't have to sell, as I say. So I think West Ham are going to have to cough up the money here or move on to other targets. But the desire to see a player over the line ahead of the new season's not happening. So I think the squad we've got, this is the one that's going to be going into the Sunderland game. Regardless of that, though, I can't wait. Premier League football back on this weekend. Really looking forward to it. I'll have another video up, possibly later on. No, it won't be up later. It'll be up tomorrow. I've got a TalkSport thing later on, so I'll keep you informed about, let you know about that one a bit later on. But yeah, have a good one. Take care, and if you get any more news, I'll let you know. Come on, your ones.